What is up, comic book readers? Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Nerd Comic Book Club. This is episode 40. If you're catching us live on one of the streams right now, thank you for joining us. And if you don't know who we are a book club for people who like to read comic books. Every week we take a different story arc or a collected volume, which we all read along together. And then we gather via these live streams to have a little conversation, share our thoughts, views, and reviews. And at the end, we will have a little score and we will ask you for yours too. So if you have read along, please share those as well. So this week, what have we been reading? We have been reading, I always do this, but people can see the thumbnail, but I will remind people anyway. This week we have been reading D4VE2 from 2016. This was published by IDW Comics, and it was written by Ryan Ferrier and Valentin Ramon, which is the same team, I believe, that did the original Dave Run 2.
Yep.
There we go. I was waiting for somebody to pull me up on that. As always, folks, I am joined by my awesome co-hosts, and they are Phil from Phil's Nerdyverse on YouTube.
Ahoy, hoy.
Shane from Dawn of Comics.
What up?
And we have Scott from Scott Shelf.
Shemai buttons.
Butthorns, man, I've never read that word before, and I feel like I've read it so many times in the last 24 hours. It's unbelievable. All right, folks, are we looking forward to revisiting Dave?
Oh,
yes.
All right, shall we check out who's joining us and do introductions for everybody? We've got Firehawk here saying hello, hello.
Hey.
Who else do we have in here? I'm scrolling down. I'm trying to be careful so not to skip. Haven't heard of this one before, so just read the synopsis on Amazon. Seems interesting. It says Our Man McPuffin Muffin. Still love that name. Probably the best name on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
SCC coming in with that sign. I don't know what you call that. What is that? What's the
Devil horn?
Like the rocker sign, isn't it?
Right.
The rocker
Okay.
hands. Rock on.
And we have got we've got Funky Gibbons now, as he's known. Liam here saying, "Hi guys, it's a pleasure watching you every week, but unfortunately I won't be coming in capital letters this week due to prior commitments at home. I will definitely catch the rewind though. Have a great show." Liam's watching the football.
Why?
Come on, Denmark.
Okay, I got you.
It's coming home. Yeah.
I was completely lost. I was like, what?
And Amy says, "Hey all, apologies if you hear something major happens in the football. I guess Amy's going to do massive scream."
She's downstairs, yeah. So yeah, she may pipe up if something dramatic happens.
So if we hear her scream, we have to assume that it's the football and there's not like a giant rat running around scaring her.
No danger. It's just football. Yeah.
We also have Highland G saying hi everyone here as well. We have Adam and Caroline saying hi, hey-o. Howdy to you. Hope you are well. We got Tottenham Gaming here as well. If there's one thing I respect about Scott's name this week, it's family. Okay.
Family, man.
And we have Sean here from Slim Comics and More. Howdy to everyone. Howdy to you, mate. Hope you are well too. There we go. I think that's everyone joining us. Thank you for tuning in and checking us out and skipping the football. We're showing a lot of commitment here, aren't we, by being here tonight?
Yeah.
Well, you three are. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Football, it's fine.
All right then, folks, let's get into it. We're going to need that synopsis, as we always do, for Dave 2, and it's by the person that chose the book, and this week that was Scott.
So Dave 2 happens 365 days after the event of Dave 1. The world is now at peace, but a strange ship kind of appears containing humans from the past, and then Dave has to deal with all this whilst also juggling issues with his family and his son and a new relationship and a dog that just doesn't stop humping him. That's it.
Yep, pretty accurate, I think. Yep, nailed it.
Yep.
All right, let's get into the art then and kick it off as we usually do. Shane, you want to start us off with the art?
I love the art in this. I know it's simple, and I think I said it for the first volume. It's simple and plain, I know, but it's actually done really well. If the robots are individuals, there's actually more there than you'd think. I really love the art in this, especially like when Dave gets a new face and like it's it's all colourful and it was just such a tonal shift from what we normally see of Dave's very sterile face. I thought that was great, and the humans are drawn really well as well. First time we get to see humans in a book, and I thought they were drawn quite well. Bodies are a bit saggy, but the faces are great.
Yeah. Humans' bodies are saggy. Look at mine.
I mean, like the jumpsuits that the girls are wearing, like they come down to their knees. If you notice, they're wearing those really baggy trouser sort of things. But yeah,
one of them was wearing a 9 Inch Nails t-shirt as well. I spotted.
Yeah. I didn't like the way the humans are drawn. That's my first note about the art. I've written bad at humans. Like I think it's like, you know,
you've just summed up the planet Earth.
You know, the whole book, you know, Dave 1 was, you know, very consistent, and so is this, until you see the humans, and then I go, oh right, okay, maybe, you know, what's his name, Valentin Ramon, you know, isn't great at drawing humans. Maybe that's why he signed up to draw something that doesn't exist and you can't copy. So, you know, so they've gone, it's drawn humans, and I saw them, you know, like obviously you can tell, but I was like, nah, like stick to the robots. So that was the thing that came to me straight away when I saw them.
I got to say, I'm kind of ashamed. I kind of thought the humans were okay. I actually, when we got to that part, I actually thought the art took a step up a little bit with the humans for me. Phil, what about yourself?
I'm going to sit in the fence. Yes and no. Like, I think the two girls were kind of like I agree with Scott, but the scene where they actually went back in time and he kind of came back into the whatever city they were in, I thought it was going to be good to have some human interaction, have humans drawn well. That scene was drawn well, but I thought in general the humans, I just didn't like how they were drawn. Yeah.
Let's just catch up the comics here. We've got Tom from This Monday Movies saying, "Hey guys, evening all. It's coming home." We have Jack Talks Comics here as well. Evening to you, Jack. Hope you are well. SCC is saying the humans look like potato people.
Yeah,
they do where I live, mate. You're not wrong. And Amy saying, I love the art in this. You can see every emotion in the characters, and the art definitely told the story. Colors are a bit mismatched for me, but overall, love the art, says Amy.
I think the color shift when he went back was great. Sorry.
That's all right. And Highland G saying, I find the same with IDW. I mean, TMNT mutants look good, but humans look okay at best. Sorry, Shay, what are you saying?
The color, Amy said there about the color, and I agree. Like, because the future is muggy and it's smoggy everywhere, isn't it? But then when he went back and the skies were blue and the grass was green, and it was clean. Just such a contrast.
Yeah, it was nice.
But I suppose that would be true in a world, you know, where machines were the dominant thing. Like, it probably would be a bit oily and a bit grimy, wouldn't it? You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you know, they drink oil. They had like oil on their pizzas, and the coffee they ordered. That was I have to try and find that and just read it out.
That was hilarious.
Like a Moto something Chino at the end or whatever. Yeah.
From Starbucks.
Starbucks. Yeah.
Oh, it's just brilliant. I love all the tech speak in this, like what the 404 and job damn it. And it was just like, it was fantastic. I love that sort of thing. But what Amy said there about the characters and the emotion it's true for the robots as well. Like, you can tell even though the faces don't move, the positions of the head sort of tells you their emotions. Yeah. It's such a hard thing to do with a robot face.
I found the name of the coffee.
Go on then.
Go on.
He says, I got a full fume multi-grade double hydrocarbon 2-pump polyglycol non-ox low fuel frappa brap oilachino.
Skinny, please.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. They did have a lot of fun with the future stuff there as well, like things like tar books, and it's still quite cool that they say, like, for job's sake, like Steve Jobs is God, isn't he? Like we talked about that in the first one stuff. And
they referenced like was as well, didn't they? It's a couple of times. And there was somebody else. Was it Gates? Like Gates would be like in place of Jesus, wasn't it?
Yep.
I didn't pick that one up.
Yeah. that text speech just is fantastic. It just made me chuckle as I'm reading it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say for me this is like the best art. I think it's consistent. Like if you kind of enjoyed one and one didn't bother you, like that sounds really mean, doesn't it? Like, oh yeah, if it didn't bother you, you know what I'm saying? Like I think it's more of the same. Like I couldn't differentiate between the first Dave series and this one. It was all pretty on the level.
I mean, like if you're a fan of the vibe that Dave gives out as a whole, then you're going to keep reading it. I mean, you know, sometimes it is the story that overrides the art. And, you know, specifically, you know, with Amy, I know she loves this series, and I think that's something that happens with her. Like, you know, she loves the story, and that's what's carried it for her.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the same for a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't think the art is off-putting. Like it's not something that you look at and would go, ugh, I'm not going to read on. I think it does the job.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like it's not going to blow you away, but I don't think you're going to just put it down based on the visuals and that book.
I do find
it's worth pointing out to people as well that this is 4 issues as well. So this is only a short one, and it is available in trade as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Phil.
No, I do think the art was inconsistent in some places, and I don't mean like in a bad way. Like obviously it depends on the page they're drawn, but some pages have a lot more detail, attention to detail than others. I suppose that is kind of common in general, but that's where I found inconsistencies and stuff. So the page I picked, for example, I thought had a lot of detail in it, where there are some pages that just
I'd agree with that. When I said consistent, I kind of meant in the sense that like it was, but I found that in the first series of Dave as well, that there were some parts that were better drawn than other bits. Mm-hmm. So like when I say consistent, I mean like there's not a lot of difference in it, but you are right. Those moments are definitely in there, I think. What about you guys, Shane, Scott?
I think for me, the character design stayed the same throughout, which like I don't think the characters let you down. I think maybe backgrounds and things that are happening in the background, but I found the forefront to be consistent throughout. I didn't see any major issues with that myself.
Okay.
I think I'm on the same page as Shane as well, to be honest. But I think with the art, it's not about the detail for me. It was just about the fun stuff they've managed to squash in here and there. You know, like when Dave was back with the humans and he was looking out a window and the woman was throwing a baby up in the sky with the bubbles, and he just says WTF on his top, and it's just little bits like that. And then I think my favorite like little arty joke was they were graffitiing Fred's house with Hillary sucks, and then you see like the next page a machine has gone over that saying re-elect Hillary. She supports freedom of speech, and then like later on it goes from Fred's house to Dave's house, and then it goes re-elect Hillary supporting equal housing. And it's like the houses are just so terribly different and stuff, and I just love that, those kind of little ironic and just funny and dumb just pieces.
I think that's what this book has, isn't it? It may not have those standout visuals, but it has a lot of that hidden stuff in there, like you said, signs in the background and things on walls that you kind of like may want to pay attention to. All right, should we get to pages then?
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So I'm not sure what order I put these up in here. So I think this one's your, Shane.
It is, yes. You can't see the bottom of the page. I picked this one for multiple reasons. Okay. One, I love when he's in the car and they're stuck in traffic all the time, because later on you find out the car can fly. So I don't know why he's in traffic all the time. But also, but there's this, if you look at the top, the dog's got the fluffy dice in his mouth, and they're going past a cyclist. And at the bottom of the page, the dog has a cyclist's leg in his mouth. And it was just this thing where you're not really paying attention to that, and it caught me off guard. And it just made me laugh so hard as I was reading, and I just realised what was happening. That it made me laugh the hardest out of the whole book.
That's what they were so good at writing this. It's just like, yes, you're reading the story going on, but there's also these other little bits going on in the world and in the area and stuff, and it's just little bits like that. It just made it more fun to read.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I can we just give it up for what was his name? Scotty's boyfriend.
Brad.
Was it Brad?
Yeah.
I love his glasses, man. I think they're awesome.
It's 3D glasses.
3D glasses.
I just thought it was great. Again, it was almost, they were kind of like when they were character designing, they're just like, how can we make these simple robots? Because they're all the kind of same shape and stuff, really, aren't they? You know. So it's like the fact that they give them all this kind of random stuff to make them look different is quite good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Any more on this one, folks?
Nope, just that.
I'm just gutted I missed that last panel because I didn't catch it myself either. And the fact that I didn't like this book, I think if I had seen that, I mean, if it helped me a little bit through.
I think that's with this book, you have to look in the background as well. It's very much like I Hate Fairyland. Like there's more going on than what we're supposed to be paying attention to. You have to look in the background all the time in this book.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, move on to the next one. We have that one, and I do believe, is that you, Phil?
It's me. Yeah. Yep. It's just
this was good.
It's just really hilarious. Like, there's a lot I like about it. I love like kind of like the. So this is where he gets his face changed for his big date. He wants to kind of spruce himself up, and I love the way like even the background's dark. Like he's in some dark, dingy kind of clinic to get kind of fixed, you know, and. Even when he's on the chair, he's getting pinned down. His legs are up because he's obviously in agony getting fixed, whatever. And it's just like even the details, like we mentioned about everything being oily. Like there's grease stains on the chair and stuff, and on the machine or whatever. And I can't even remember this character's name. The person who's doing the cosmetic surgery, whatever it is. Like it's just this page had a lot more detail, which I enjoyed, and it was also hilarious throughout. And then obviously the reveal of his face too was also hilarious. But
his face did not look good. Let's be honest, it didn't.
No. But he's struggling so much, and it looks like he's literally just taken it off like a phone case. Like it's just popped straight off. He's there like chiseling away.
The thing that made me giggle at this page was the fact that his mouth is just a can of Coke. You know, it's just a can. Like, did no one else notice that?
No,
I don't think
I picked this page. I didn't notice that.
But I was just like, why is his mouth just a can of Coke? Like,
why wouldn't it be a can of Coke, Scott?
But it's like, you know, you'd expect this really intricate circuitry going on behind the mask and everything, but no, it's just a quarter of it is just can of Coke.
See, that adds to the story to me then, because I'm just thinking, like, I don't know how far in the future they are, but they've obviously had to go through repairs, and they're doing like botch jobs, trying to just fix things up. So, what do I have lying around? A tin of Coke, we just fire it in, it's metal, it'll conduct electricity or whatever. Like, I like that now. You pointed that out. Like, I like that idea.
I think a lot of the things in the book were quite simplified, though, weren't they? Like, you know, when that one part where he there's that little vacuum. And he just gets like a USB stick and plugs it in, and then that's it. The thing's sentient then.
Well, that's the USB stick that he used at the end of the first one to put his programming into everyone else, because that's why everyone else is such a bellend. Because they're all Dave. Yeah, they're all butthorns because of Dave.
But I think that shows like that point, like just how kind of like easy their technology is, isn't it? Like it's a part. They're a part of it. It's a part of them, and that was done well.
Yeah, the world building was done really well.
Yeah,
I don't think you can complain about that.
No, this page also, like Shane had mentioned, the kind of like the big machine, the big contraption that removes his face, but later on in the book, he just puts his old face back on. Like it's so simple. Like you're right, it's like a phone cover. It's like so all this effort take off his face just to be able to do it himself anyway. It made no sense. But that's
I thought his new face looked a little bit like the V for Vendetta mask as well.
I thought the same thing.
Absolutely terrifying.
Amy saying here, you can only upgrade so much. Bless him. And she agrees. I think with you, Phil. Another great page.
I love the doctor as well, because he's like, don't worry, I'm just going to go in here and pull this out and reach in there and take that. I'm just going to put this in your face and in your neck and in your upper head. It's like,
but don't worry.
How candid all the robots are. They just say it how it is, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. Any more for this one?
No.
Right. Next page is Mr. Scott, I believe yours.
So this was like a dream that Dave was having at the start of issue 2, and he's fighting this massive purple monster, and it was probably one of the things that just made me like giggle, but in a gross way, if you know what I mean. Just I gross giggled. I mean, like the stuff he was saying, like the purple guy, his stuff was getting like translated, and he was just like, you know, in the middle panel where Dave is like launching himself at it, and he goes, "Ooh, aggressive, mama likey." And I'm just like reading this stuff, and I'm just sitting there, my headphones on, Amy's watching TV, and I'm just going like, like that's the kind of laugh I'm chucking out. And she's like, oh, like she's kind of, because she's read it, she has an idea of where I am with it, and I'm just like, it's just so it's just gross, but it's funny. Like the bottom panel where it's just like, oh baby, you like this, don't you? And it's just like, it's just horrible, but like you can't help but laugh, because you don't expect, like when you see an alien with like, you know, writing like that, you know, you don't know what language they're speaking, you think, you know, it's something menacing or, you know, dark or serious, but then it's just like it's just this grossly hilarious translation. I just loved it.
I thought Dave was translating it wrong until the final panel, because I just thought Dave was just being a butthorn and just assuming what the alien was saying. But no, by the end, it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was just brilliant.
It is.
And then the fact that it was all a dream as well. Just why was he dreaming that? So
can I ask, because I couldn't remember, and I was too lazy to go and look it up. Lazy is the wrong word. Too busy is the right word. That alien that we see, was that the same aliens that we saw in the first one?
No.
I didn't think it was, because I thought that they were green, weren't they? The ones in the first one. Yeah.
I think it's off one of Scotty's games. I think it's like a character from one of his games.
Okay. That would make sense then.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more?
No.
Okay. I chose this one. Spoilers ahead, folks, because this is the last page of the book. And I chose it purely for just that bottom panel when they're in the museum and you've got the hologram of like Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And given the time travel aspect to this in Dave 2, you've got like the Terminator, just worked by Shane there. And there's just like a lot of hidden things. I think you've even got that little vacuum that he gives life to going around and stuff as well. So I just thought that was a nice panel to kind of like encapsulate the things that we'd kind of seen in the book, you know.
I mean, it was just like, I don't know if Dave has changed history or it was just a misrepresentation, but it's like the middle panel is like, you know, an Egyptian leader or something, or like an Aztec with a gun. You got a caveman with a suitcase, and like George Bush as a doctor or whatever.
The archives have probably been destroyed, so they're going by what they've got, aren't they? But he did change time a little bit, because when he comes back,
he does.
Yeah,
this is the thing. They referenced Terminator a few times, didn't they, in the book? So I'm beginning to wonder now: are they referring to pop culture? Do they think Terminator's a real thing?
Maybe.
You know?
Probably.
Oh, they do with Back to the Future as well, don't they? Because he says, "Oh, you know," she's like, "You've got to go back in time," and he's all like, "Oh yeah, but what if like my mum falls in love with me and I ruin things?"
Yeah, but that was the humans, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I just love Dave's final words. Scotty's like, "Do you want to go break shit?" And he's like, "I really don't." I just feel like he's just changed so much. Like, it was just great.
Yeah, he's kind of like, I think in the first one, his quest was to kind of like he was in that like dead end job and he wanted to be a hero again, didn't he? And I think in this, it's kind of like comes full circle, doesn't it? Like he realizes he doesn't want to be a hero. He just wants to be a good person and live a quiet life and get on with his family and all of that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amy saying, I love this page, proper throwbacks in there, included in there. And we have Sith Lordley joining us as well. Howdy to you, Sith. Hope you're well, mate, out there in California.
I love the statue of the girl's dad, because they've even put the cigarette smoke cloud around him, because throughout the whole book he had the cigarette cloud around his face. And it's even on the statue, which I thought was great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. It was just a nice kind of way to visually, I think, kind of like tie things up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is the equivalent of that kind of walking off into the sunset kind of thing, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, That's why I chose that anyway.
That's nice.
All right then.
Great page.
Let's get onto the onto the writing then. Phil, do you wanna start us off on the writing and the story?
What story? Where'd I start? I think with the art, this is where it ends for me. I honestly couldn't engage with this book. I don't know if I don't know if I'm too old for this, but I've heard enough butt horns, balls, dicks. I just there was too much of it. I couldn't get into it, to be honest. What I found, because we all enjoyed the first series of Dave, and I did too, and it was really cute and endearing almost, but this time it became more irritating and just it seemed a bit more dumbed down or something as well. Like it's hard to know where the story was going. I took 2 issues before something actually happened with the humans. It was all like a love story. They were going on a date. Scotty doesn't like his dad. It's just for me, it was a bit boring. It's like I thought there'd be more to it. And then the time travel stuff, and then nothing really happened with it. Like unless I'm missing something, but maybe it's because I wasn't engaged. I don't really know what occurred. Like, why did the humans just kick him back and send him back to, where he came from? But because something did happen, because they changed presidents, didn't they? Because it was no longer President Hillary; it was President Roomba. For that's the Hoover, isn't it? Yeah. So obviously something happened, and I just didn't get, because I couldn't engage with it. I thought it was just a bit of a mess. Someone help me out here. Does anyone agree, or am I on my own?
We've got SCC here. He's saying the dialogue was the best part for him, especially the dog FU bark.
It was like FU woof.
Yeah.
I like that too for so much. There was just too much of that kind of stuff. The dialogue I thought was terrible.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to counter Phil's?
I will give you a reason why there's so much more in this book.
Okay.
The reason is because the first book, it was primarily Dave that spoke like that. But then at the end of the first book, he uploaded his programming into everyone else. So that's why everyone in this book now talks like Dave. So there is a reason for it.
Okay.
Love it or hate it, there is a reason for it.
I think that makes sense now. I never thought about that.
And the impression I get is because, so Dave 1 was probably a success for the creators, and then they just thought, we'll either do Dave 2. But Dave 1 had a story. There was an invasion. They had this kind of ordinary robot that was once a war hero come good again and be this kind of praised to be the savior or whatever. I don't think this had a coherent story from start to finish. It seemed to have a lot of other stuff in it.
Amy saying I couldn't concentrate on the story that much because I was laughing at so many different things that I noticed in the book. One thing that stuck with me is that Sally is so sassy.
She is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's what I'm saying. There's too much. Like the whole thing with Sally, her boyfriend, Scott. I actually really liked the kind of romance between Scotty and Brad. And I love that kind of that kind of story in it. But that's probably the best one. For me, the story should have been more about the humans going back in time and something actually happening, but nothing occurred. I don't really understand what happened.
It was Dave. It was Dave growing as a person, and Dave realizing that he wants to be a good person. He doesn't want to go out into the universe anymore and kill living things. He just wants to be good. And he doesn't realize that until he's seen the consequences of his actions. He meets the humans. He sees what the world was like before he helped destroy it. And now he's willing to sacrifice his son, his future, so that the humans can survive. And when they see that, they counteract his sacrifice with their own.
I think SCC, he does have a point. He says, I think he's agreeing slightly with you, Phil. He says, yeah, the story was going somewhere with the human thing, but then it just skipped through it all to get to the end point. I kind of felt like that. Yeah. I feel like it kind of did. Like you thought that would have led to something a bit tangible. Seeing as we're coming up to the kind of like the last 100 meters of the story, so to speak. And it just kind of never really had a bang to it. It just kind of went, okay, you're in the future. Now you're going home.
I was hoping kind of at least, at the very end you would see some sort of like, robot, human, environment living together, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But nothing happened. Even with the professor who made Dave and the other robots and stuff, when he said like, this robot has, you know, kind of empathy or sympathy or whatever, and like we can take from this and perfect the robots and make it better, and
Save
with all
us
that
some money.
information, with all that information, you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe we'll get a, you know, a nice relationship with robots and humans, and they will be just all robots. But it was like there is still no humans.
No,
Yeah.
I think he realized he couldn't improve on the robot. Dave was perfect. He was a human in a robot body. He had empathy. He was willing to sacrifice himself. He was essentially a human. So I think the professor just realized.
See, this is where I kind of get stumped as well, because, you know, I'm a Terminator fan, so Skynet are obviously smarter than humans. That's why kind of, you know, they become Skynet, right? The robots all seem pretty dumb to the point where I wonder how they killed all the humans, because I think like humans should be able to outsmart them in
Brute
like a
force.
battle scenario. Yeah, but at the same
They show
time,
you
you
them
know,
like picking up tanks and hitting people with tanks.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't really
Strong,
compete with that.
yeah, you gotta outsmart them. You know, it beggars belief how this kind of race of robots are in control of the world. How they get rid of the humans, because they did seem pretty dumb.
And I did think that I thought maybe Dave had created this by actually putting the hard drive into the Roomba to begin with and giving that technology to the past.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
what if he had created himself, essentially? But
See, I like that better.
Nothing came of that. No.
There are a few things nothing came off. It just good kind of little kind of nods to things, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
I
I'm kind of leaning on Phil's side of the fence on this one here with that. Yeah.
The only thing that kind of stuck was just the relationships and Dave growing, but nothing in terms of the actual story. Nothing to do with the humans comes through, does it? It's just all right. This happens, but nothing happens at the end. There's no like consequence or reward or anything.
And I feel that's a big shame. As I've seen, as we saw no humans in the first series, we were told like, you know, they destroyed them and wiped them out. Like when they turned up, I thought I was generally quite excited. Like, oh, okay, how are they gonna play this one out and kind of refer back to the first book, and it, like you just said, it just never really went anywhere with the human beings.
Yeah,
they were just a means to get Dave back in time, weren't they? I mean, and the language on those girls, they were just as bad as Dave.
Jesus, yeah.
Gosh, just as bad as Dave. They were so rude.
Does that say something then? Because like the creator was the father of those women, and he created Dave with that kind of vocabulary.
There you go.
Maybe we're just looking too much into it. I have no idea.
No, I think you've got a point, mate. Yeah, because he was essentially he's the creator of all of them, isn't he? You know, so they've all got that similar and maybe that's a nod that, you know, he maybe gave Dave that kind of personality based on his daughters or something. Could be there, you know.
I mean,
it's quite good like that.
All of that stuff aside, like I read this book with just the fact that it's just a bunch of fun nonsense in mind, you know, and you know, I knew what I was kind of the vibe I would be expecting based off the first one, but then, you know, and then I just kind of went into it. I didn't expect nothing spectacular or mind-blowing. I just kind of read it for what it was and just try to have a good time with it. That's all.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think for me, I kind of like, I wasn't surprised by anything in this. Again, like you said, Scott, I think we all knew, having read the first Dave, what we were going to be reading. But Phil touched on a lot of the kind of way I felt about it. That's why I was kind of nodding as he was talking. I kind of felt disappointed with this one. To me, it felt like they were like, right, we need to do a Dave 2. And they took all of the things that made Dave kind of punky, and they kind of left all of the stuff that made the original series kind of cool, which was, it had emotion and it had some heart. And I don't think this did. It didn't have a lot of it. It was real minimal.
The first Dave was all about, remember, it started off with his ordinary life in traffic, hitting the traffic, and he's this kind of mundane robot who was once a war hero by killing all the humans. And then he obviously had this kind of redemption where he became a war hero again. Like, there was nothing off that. There was no kind of, you're right, there was no heart in it. It was just like they used all the good stuff from Dave 1, reused it, added a few other things that I don't think necessarily worked. And then we'll throw some time traveling humans in. And I don't really like time traveling books, as we've established. So Yeah.
So that again, like last week, it was a plus for me. The whole time travel thing.
It depends how it's done.
Well, SCC's chipping in here as well, and he's got a point. He says he guesses the overarching story was Scotty spanking the monkey.
Well, if the world's going to end, I'm going to go out spanking it.
I just felt that they took all of the focus for the second series was put in the wrong place. Like, they should have put it more into that emotional, tugging at those kind of heartstrings. And they didn't. And I've got to admit, like Phil, I think you said a bit earlier, Phil, as well, that some of the stuff that was quite amusing in Dave 1 became really irritating in Dave 2. Like, everything was like, I don't mind swearing, but this was like every speech bubble, man. There was like swearing, F this, you're effing that, you butthole. Like, and I'm just kind of, all right, man. Like, you've done it that much now, it's become unfunny. Like, I'm desensitized to it now, that really disengaged me.
It's almost as if the creator's trying to think like how young people speak. So either it's really insulting he thinks that, or else that is how young people speak, and then we have even bigger problems. It's just like, do you know what I mean? It's just I don't know. It wasn't for me. Maybe I'm too old, but it did become more irritating than enjoyable.
We're lucky, Phil. We have a representative of the young right down there. Scott, is this how young people talk?
Yes.
No, we're in trouble.
You heard it here first, folks.
Not at all. I mean, I don't speak like that. No way.
But Brad, the Scotty's boyfriend or whatever, like, he was actually quite good in the book. Like, he was quite he was sensible and polite and stuff. And and we'll be bored if you had a book or just on that all the time. You want something a bit, like a bit of joy or whatever. But yeah, I like Brad because he actually made sense when he spoke.
I think this time around, the only two characters I really warmed to were Brad and what was her name? Beth.
Yeah.
They were the only two characters I really kind of warmed to, and their stories didn't seem to go anywhere, or like their involvement in the story didn't really seem to move beyond like one.
I think Brad was in one of my favorite scenes in the book, where he's in the car with Dave and they're chasing Scotty because Scotty's going to kill the humans.
Yeah.
And he's talking to him about being with his son. And Dave goes to say, how long has Scotty been? And he cuts him off and he says, does it matter? And he says, I was going to say, how long has Scotty been happy? And that was fantastic writing. Yeah. The rest of the book you can burn, but that was just flawless writing.
That's the thing that they should have focused on, like those kind of clever, because they can clearly deliver a joke. There's no getting around that. But it's like every time they just went for the cheaper version of things. And when you can do cool things like that, why just stick to that cheap, kind of just repeating the same swear word over and over kind of thing? It just seemed like a waste to me a little bit.
Yeah, a waste of potential. Like.
Yeah, and Amy says the same thing as well. She said it had the potential to be really good. Sometimes things did get a bit too much with the language, made her cringe at times as well.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Even the colonel or the sergeant or whatever, like, this is when Dave was he went rogue, and they were kind of ordered to kill him. Like, this, I can't remember what words they were using, but the sergeant, I sort of thought, should have been like, as you would picture, like an army sergeant, kind of robust and dangerous, ready to fight. He was just a bit too goofy and a bit too silly, and he was using the words like giggity and stuff. I was like, they just don't want.
I love when they left those two on guard to watch the pod, and they were playing Strip Go Fish.
Strip Go Fish.
And then that other female robot comes out, and she's got two missiles through her chest. So she's got the boobs at the front, but at the back she's got the tails of the missiles sticking out. Yeah. And she comes to just have a go at them. I thought that was just.
I think the only probably the biggest thing that kept me engaged and reading this is the jokes in the art. It's stuff that is never mentioned in the dialogue, but it's just what you see going on. I think that's what kept me most engaged, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I just felt that I expected, and this may be on me, but having us read that first series, I thought this was going to have more of that heartfelt development in there and stuff, and it just didn't for me.
Yeah, you could feel it was trying sometimes,
Yeah, with the Scotty and Dave stuff, it was trying.
Yeah. Just missed it a little bit.
Yeah, it just didn't hit that landing like the first one did.
I do like that Dave was just so accepting of Scotty straight away. Wasn't a big deal. Didn't make anything of it. He's like, yeah, and I'm not here for that. We've got to go. He's like, yeah. He was just completely fine.
Yeah. I think
because he's got gay friends, hasn't he? We met them in the first book. So Dave.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's old army buddies, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Adam. Was it Adam and Steve? Did they do that joke? I think they did that joke.
I think it was. Yeah. I think it was Adam and Steve. Yeah. Yeah, I'd forgot about those guys. Yeah. So that kind of all fits. But yeah, I kind of like that with Sky. It felt right for this book, and it felt again like it was going to go somewhere heartfelt, and it never really did. Even between him and Brad, was it? Is that what we said? His name was Brad with the glasses. Yeah, it didn't kind of really. I know at the end he kind of hugs him and he's like, "You're the only one that's kind of never." What does he say? Never throw me away, or But again, it kind of fell empty a little bit because he's just kind of like, you've known him all of like how long?
A year.
Yeah, and the issue that he was having at the time was with his dad. Yeah. And he just kind of like, what? This didn't. It felt empty to me. It didn't feel like it had any texture to it, which was a real shame.
Oh, I felt their relationship grew quite well throughout the book. The little touching of the thigh and the little looks and the
I mean,
what was that, Scott? One more time.
I'm so blowing that up and putting that on Instagram. That face.
Can't wait. It was a nice like blooming of the relationship, I think. But what was going on in the year between? You know what I mean? Just like.
Like you said, the blooming was there, and I enjoyed that part of it. I just wanted something. I wanted it to go somewhere, like more than it did with him just going, "Oh, you've never thrown me away." Like that was the end of that. Really, you just kind of like probably should have led to more for me. I think you had an opportunity there to do some more emotional work with the book, put some more emotion into it, and it's like they just didn't.
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, Scotty also like. He was still a big prick, like from the first book. And again, there was no kind of growth for his character either, and he was still just a whiny, moany git. And
can I just stop you, Phil? Like when we get to the end of season 1, I'm going to do a montage of all the characters you've ever called a prick in comic books.
there are many. Let's be honest, and they did it on purpose. I think obviously to kind of antagonize people, really, but. Yeah, he even though I like Scotty, I mean, as a character, he was a prick. He was a whingy, moany git, but and I just thought something can be done better with that. Like you're right with Dave and stuff, but the message.
And I kind of felt as well that we were going over old ground a little bit as well. Like it was like we saw a lot of that in the first Dave series, and it's kind of like we pick it back up and like you just said, Scotty's still being a little dickhead, you know what I mean? Like I'd have liked something a bit different in the second one rather than the continuation of him just acting like an idiot.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the book he grew because he took all his frustration out on his dad. He got everything out he wanted to say, beat the crap out of him, and then just he let all that anger out, and that was it. I think that was his moment.
Weren't my moment, that's all I'm saying.
No, it's Scotty's moment.
Okay, folks, is there any more on the right? Any other points that you guys had that you want to touch on?
No, it's all the background jokes for me.
Scott's checking his notes.
Yeah, no, nothing. Yeah.
There was one joke that it did make me chuckle again, like proper laugh out loud moment. You're in the Oval Office with President Hillary, and she's got the little robots that are patrolling the floor. And they're a head on wheels, and they have two hands, and one's holding a gun, and the other doesn't have a gun, so he's holding his fingers like a gun, just patrolling the office. And that proper made me laugh out loud. Just this robot holding his hand like this.
Can I ask you saying that about the little robots? In like issue 1, where we see Dave turn up for work, like in the army, and the bit where he's going, "Oh, well, that's the thing when you're your own general, you're the one doing the telling off to yourself. There's two robots, and they've got chicken heads.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
didn't understand that.
Those heads on little tank things with arms,
Yeah.
isn't it? They
Yes.
just got chicken, like they got a normal head, but it's like a chicken head hat on top, and it looks like they're just making them fight each other. I have no idea what they are, but like nothing is ever explained about what these things are. They just
Cockfight.
attack the army, and they're just there, and that's it.
Cockfight. They're having a cockfight.
Maybe. Yeah, I just lost. I was like, there's got to be a reference in here somewhere, knowing this book, and I just could not find it. I was like, what am I looking at there? Like, is there a joke in that? Like, I don't know. I thought that was just me being dense. Like,
no, it's just another one of the hidden jokes in there. There's just so many of them. It's fantastic.
all right, folks, we're doing it. The glasses are off. The glasses are on. It's that time. If anybody read along with this week who's still here and not watching the football, you know what to do. Stick your score 1 to 10 in the chat and your final thoughts, and we'll go through and we'll see what everybody thought about the book. Phil, do you want to start us off?
I was prepared to really lambast this book, to be honest. Like I was so disappointed in it. I did enjoy it. I couldn't engage with it. I thought I missed like crucial parts at the end, and because I just wasn't into it. But then I realized there was no real kind of conclusive end, I suppose. And we've all touched on it. The best thing about it is the kind of jokes and the kind of hidden things in the art. And there obviously were a few things you guys have mentioned that I didn't pick up on, and now that I've seen, I enjoyed it a little bit more. So I'm going to raise the score to what I had in my head at the start. The story was all over the place for me. I didn't enjoy it. The best part of the story was Scotty and Brad. I think they could have focused on that with Dave's relationship with Scotty more in a better kind of story. Like, I don't know, maybe Scotty was influenced somewhere kind of way, rather than just kind of, I don't even know what happened, to be honest. That's how bad it was. So for me, I'm going to give it a 4.5, and that's the reason from what I had earlier. Just because I couldn't engage with it. It wasn't for me.
What was it originally?
A 2.
Wow. To be fair, I'm glad we were able to help you raise it to that much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, I was comparing it to Doctor Strange and Witchblade, and I was just like, where can I go? You know, but luckily enough, you have taught me raise my points slightly.
Nice one.
Okay then. So it's a 4.5 from the money. Shane, over to you, mate.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the jokes. I really enjoyed the characters, the designs, everything about it. I enjoyed the first one more. Dave one is better. I mean, it is. It's not a comparison really when you go back and look at both of them. The first one is much better. The swearing is a bit much. I do understand why everyone is now acting like Dave, so I do understand it, but it was far too much. Art's the same as the first one, so scoring wise it would be exactly the same, but this one doesn't get as high as the first book, because first book is just, I love it. I will go back and reread the first one more often than I will the second one, but I will do go back and reread the second one as well. So for me, this one's a 7.
Okay, it's a 7 from Shane there. Scott, over to yourself.
You know, everyone has raised it so far. You know, this is all, you know, this book is, you know, is about the art. You know, it's not about the dialogue. It's not about the story, because it didn't make sense. But, you know, but it was a fun read. It was a decent, okay read. I mean, for me, like I've said before, it was the art and the in jokes that was keeping me going throughout the story. And, you know, yeah, I like the relationships with, with Scotty and Brad, and how Dave dealt with that was really great. But yeah, the whole time travel thing, I was happy that there was time travel, but with the fact that nothing came of it apart from a new president and a statue, that was it. So
I will say that does play into the next series.
Okay.
Is there another one?
Yeah, one more.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
you know,
isn't that one called Daveocracy?
Yes.
Yeah.
The story was, you know, disjointed, you know, to put it into one word. And then, you know, and they did also rehash a lot of things from, you know, from the previous series, and from just throughout this, they were just reusing stuff all the way through. So fun read, but not the best thing. So I'm gonna give it a 5, please.
It's a numero 5 from Mr. Shelf. Okay, let's have a look. See what everybody else thinks, and I'll deliver mine. I'll try and keep it short because I know I waffle on. Amy is saying, I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. Great laugh, love the art, but the story was everywhere and no real link between 1 and 2. There we go. I think that's kind of fair as well. That's a good point. Yeah. And it's a SCC here, a 4 from me. The jokes kept me going, but weak story and standard art drop it lower for him as well. All right then, folks. For me, I got to be honest, I was disappointed in this. I had a little... I mean, Dave 1 never blew me away, I'll be honest with you. But I thought it was such a fun little comic book that it had a little place in my heart, really. This one let me down. I feel like big time. I think that they just took all of this stuff that kind of made Dave a bit edgy and a bit kind of punky 90s, and they focused on that, all the swearing and the silly language and stuff like that. And I just wanted a little bit of emotion in there in the story, like there was in the first one, because that's what made it click with me, and it just wasn't there. I agree with it, what everybody says. Visually, the kind of pop culture references and all of the hidden things in the artwork is really good, and I think that is a testament to Valentin Ramon. Yes, I did just look on the banner. That's why I put his name. But that's a testament to him, really, that and how well of a job he did on the book. But I do think the ball was dropped a little bit on this. In my opinion, we should have had a bit more of a development earlier on between Scotty and Dave. Like Amy said, some sort of link between the first and the second. The human stuff should have gone somewhere. There should have been some purpose to it. And there was a lot of the writing that seemed to have no purpose. And without me waffling on, I just felt that it wasn't disjointed, it wasn't broken or anything like that. It just did not. I think if you've read Dave and you're going into this, don't expect the same kind of warm feelings that you got from the first one, because I think this is quite barren when it comes to that for me. So I have raised my score a little bit talking to you guys as well, but not a lot. For me, I'm going to give this a 4. I feel like it does fall below average for me. So it comes in at just under 5. So it's a 4 for me.
Nice.
Harsh.
Everyone, the silence then. I was everyone's going to slow clap me.
Baron is such a hard word.
I thought the same thing with Baron, yeah.
Sorry, but it was, like, compared to the first one, it felt barren of emotion to me. The first one had a lot of care and it seemed like it had a lot of magic in there with emotions. This just had a lot of F-bombs, man. It
just does a discredit to Dave, the character, I think.
I felt that too.
It's just such a shame, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Yeah, I just thought it was. I think Amy said, didn't she? It could have had it had more potential, and I don't think it lived up to it. And Amy saying Scott felt a Dean equals very harsh.
We didn't say Baron. That's all on Dean.
Yeah, I mean, like this is the tough thing. Now we've been doing this for 40 weeks, and we've read some great stuff, and we've read some like not so great stuff. So and it's like it's trying to find where this fits in between all of this stuff, and like I feel like I can't give it a score without thinking about everything else we've read, and like does it beat this, does it beat that, is it better than this, and this it's just it gets hard.
Are you going to read on?
It does get hard, but again, like I just base everything on my enjoyment factor of where I feel that it falls. I think we said before, I think me and you, Shane, have a similar scoring system, don't we? Like we score high and then we kind of deduct things off for the stuff that we don't like in there. So I tend to kind of do that. All right, anyway, let's all shut up and see where it falls. Okay, so we had everyone watching along with us. We had 2 scores today, and no one wanted to read Dave from the looks of it. So we get an average from Amy and SCC scores. We get an average of 5.5 from those watching along. And we scored this a 4.5, a 7.0, a 5, a 4, which brings it in at an average of 5.1 for us.
All right.
So we're not that far away, like 0.4 away there. So let's have a look, see where it falls on the Nerd leaderboard. Let's do that and remove the banner because the banner always gets in the way. Ooh. So there you go. So 5.1.
24th.
So yeah, it comes in 24th. So it just beats Wacky Raceland, doesn't it?
Where is Dave? Where is Dave? Oh,
it's quite high up. It's like
7.4.
Yeah, 7.4 the first one was.
That's a big drop between the first and second volume, isn't
100%.
it?
Personally, for me, I think it's justified. I think a 2-point difference it's that noticeable for me, I think.
Well, yeah, I lowered my score by 2 points for it, because I gave Dave 1 a 9. So yeah.
I'm thinking, is it because, is it a novelty? Is Dave a novelty, and has it worn off on, volume 2?
I think it was like a breath of fresh air, the first one. Like it was just a wee bit silly, but we all, like Dean had mentioned, it had heart to it, but it was silly and stupid. But we all enjoyed it. I suppose all the kind of heavy stuff you would normally read, but this was just maybe a step too far.
Agree. Totally was just going to say that off the back of you. This kind of went too far with the wrong things. Like it should have gone a different way, you know what I mean? And it didn't.
Yeah, they picked the wrong things from the positive reviews to make the second volume. Yeah.
Well, we got Amy saying that's very low in capital letters.
Sorry.
But it's higher than Doctor Strange.
Very true. And SCC says, I wonder where the third one will place. Right. I can see what somebody's going to be recommending when we do the next random pick.
Yeah.
Like Shane did ask if we will be reading on, and I personally don't think I want to read on unless somebody picks it for the Nerd Herd.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't think I will read on now, but if somebody picks it, of course we'll read on. All right, folks, we're getting to that mark. So let's just remind you what we're reading next week. Next week we are back with catching up with Batman from New 52. We are reading The City of Owls, which essentially is volume 2 of the New 52 Batman, which was obviously published by DC in 2012, and that is Snyder and Capullo again. I think I'm looking forward to this one.
Me too.
Me too.
Oh, yes. It's going to be great. Yeah. I mean, I think the Court of Owls was one of the one of the very first proper Batman things I've read, apart from Batman Noel. So reading this was awesome, and I don't know if I've already set the bar too high for myself jumping in on this.
Yeah, I'm looking for it because again, I think this is like when we read Thor last week. God Bomb was the kind of conclusion to all of it. This is the same for the kind of the is it the Night of Owls saga? That's the term for the whole event, isn't it? The Night of Owls. Yeah. So this is the kind of concluding part to that. So very excited. Right, that's it. That's what we made of Dave 2, everybody. That's what we're reading next week. Let's just go around and you guys can let everybody know what you're up to this week. Let's go that way around. We haven't gone that way around for a while. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, great. Nothing. I did the charity on the weekend, which was absolutely fantastic. We managed to beat our goal of £150, and we managed to raise 185, which was fantastic. That was for Endometriosis UK. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out if you want. But no, nothing coming up soon. It's just obviously just prep for Comic Airwaves, and that's about it.
Yeah, well done on the charity as well, mate. You did really good. And I just to let you know, I posted you Job Lot's Louis' donation to you.
Great, thanks.
I've sent it out, so that's coming down your way. And I will send you some more stuff as well when they get a chance.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
More than welcome, mate. Scott, is that it from you?
Yes.
Shay?
I'm going to try and get a What's in the Box out. I don't know if I'll have time this week. I'm also trying to do some more reading reviews, reading reacts rather. So I will try and get some more of those out as well. I'm going to finish the second volume of Saga. I have one more issue to read for my read and react of that, and then I will find another terrible series to react to.
I think you should go back and reread all of the Future State books.
Why would you do that to me?
I just think you should, just for my own entertainment.
Maybe I'll like them the second time round.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. Shane, is that it from you?
Yep, that's me.
Phil?
The same as Scott, absolutely nothing planned. The only thing that may appear on my channel is I may go live with my new comic book day stuff, but it just depends if I get the time. The only thing I want to do this week is to request a video actually from Shane to do the watch and react for the new Masters of the Universe TV show. That would be ideal.
No, I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to cut it off. Do not talk about Masters of the Universe with Shane. Bill, is that you done?
That's me done.
All right, folks, let's wrap it up then. I'm aware that we've already crossed the time mark here. We'll do a few shout outs as well for everybody. I'm kind of doing this with one hand here, which is really weird.
What are you doing with the other hand?
What are you like to know? First shout out we've got is for Triple G Comics. Pete's usually about in here as well. I noticed the other day. I think he's about 4 subscribers away from 200. Nice. And he's a super nice guy, and he always comes and hangs out with us, and he's always really supportive of everyone. So let's see if we can get him 4. I think it'd be nice to get him to 200. You know, he's a cool guy, man, Pete. So there you go, Triple G Comics. Go check him out if you haven't already. And the second shout out I want to do again is, hold on. I really should just plug my mouse in. See, I've unplugged it and now I've just made it more awkward for myself.
No.
Go check out Comic Issues, another cool little channel as well. If I say with all of these, if you like what we do, you'll like what they do. And he's got various things on there, mystery boxes, reviews. I think the one video he looked at was a review of like Neil Gaiman writing in comic books and stuff as well. So yeah, go check him out. That's Comic Issues. And the last one I've got for you really quick is an Instagram shout out. I've been chatting to a guy this week who's kind of like he did collect comics and now he's like getting the bug to come back in, and that is a guy called at secret_stack_comics.
Yeah, I follow him as well. Yeah,
he's a cool guy. We've been swapping a few messages and stuff, and he seems like a really nice guy. So go check him out on Instagram and say hi. Tell him we sent you. There we go. Anything else, folks?
Nope.
Just one more thing.
What's that?
Get your website. Am I jumping the gun?
Nope. The waves are coming.